Gypsy Switch. Woo! Black Cat Trail. Rebecca Eves is back in the studio with us, having taken an important phone call from a shelter in Louisiana, which is inundated with flood waters.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I was just looking at the headlines, Rebecca, and it's truly stunning when you think about this. 30,000 people have been rescued, which is great. 8 dead so far. This was published yesterday, and they're calling it 1,000-year rain.
It's horrible.
We talk about 100-year floods. This is 1,000-year rain.
You know, and many times when disaster strikes, you know, you have to seek shelter, and a lot of shelters don't allow your animals.
Right.
So a lot of animals in Kentucky too, but many people have animals chained. Those animals are gone. Okay, but. I was just talking to Beth, who is the director of Companion Animal Alliance, and they are the open shelter in East Baton Rouge, and they were hit extremely hard. And when I was talking to someone else from the shelter a little while ago, he said, "Oh my, another load just came in. It's just devastating." I mean, they are inundated, and these are the ones that people have gone around and saved. So many perished, I know, and I was just thinking, we need to reach out to, you know, this could happen to us.
It could,
okay,
absolutely.
And these people and the
it
animals,
did.
Well,
do you remember when
correct.
Louisville Metro Animal Services was underwater and had to move all of them out to the fairgrounds?
Yeah.
You were right there.
I was right there.
Yep.
Yeah. It does happen to us, and there is no warning, and then there is no. It's just they're flooded with. Animals, and these people may not be able to get back to their homes for a very long time. Yeah. It's tragic. So
what are you going to do?
Well, I'm trying to secure a flight. The pilots that always are there for us, I mean, seriously, Jeff and Valerie Allen, who we absolutely adore, I contacted them, and the plane that they would be able to take, it's in maintenance right now. So, they're putting out on a pilot group to try and help me secure a flight. I've called another pilot. I'm just waiting to hear. We're looking for a pilot to fly down to pick up 1 or 2 animals that we can help.
Can you describe, or did she give you any inclination as to what the animals were?
3 came to mind right then,
right.
And 2 were drugged by a car. I imagine the family was in absolute frenzy and forgot or whatever. I don't know. But the bottoms of their legs, their feet are just, and then there's another one with broken bones from, you know, they get lodged into all kinds of places when they're struggling in water. Right. So she's going to assess the situation and get back with me when we get off the air at 5. Mm-hmm. And we'll try and work something out. And I feel the pilot community is so strong and tight and so good to us as the Aero Fund. I feel sure someone will step up. So hopefully we'll be able to bring... And also, we want to bring light that this is going on for these people. You know, I mean, we have another huge disaster in California with the fires.
That's right.
But we just, you know, we felt like the animals were more impacted down there. And the Aero Fund just always wants to spread goodwill. And, you know, we really don't have a lot of foster homes. We'll be scrambling to find a foster home. If you'd like to foster.
Very important.
Please go to theaerofund.org. To foster, there's a foster application, there's adoption applications. We have wonderful animals already up for adoption, and then you can donate there. And like I said, our vet bills, or you said, our vet bills are astronomical because of the condition of the animals that we bring in, and that. But we really want to show that this does happen in our world, and we want to be a shining light for these animals.
And you are.
Yes.
There's no question.
Yep.
Speaking of which, when you determine which animals you're going to take in, you have a set of criteria to take in an animal for the Aero Fund.
Yeah, well, we really want to see... We have to see pictures of the animal, right. And it has to... Most of the time, we really want it to come from someone who can sign the animal over legally.
Right.
Okay? Whether that be a shelter, a sheriff's office, animal control, another rescue.
You don't typically find an owner.
No. I mean, someone has come up before and said that's my animal, but it really wasn't. We really want to make sure they're legally ours before we because most of the time they're in really bad shape.
Right.
We need to have the legal recourse to treat them.
Right.
And for the vet's protection as well.
Sure.
So that, and we really, it's when an animal's so hurt, most of the time you wouldn't believe how calm they are and how, so we really have to look at temperament. We've had animals with body parts hanging and they're sweet. But we have to watch out for our vets and our foster homes,
right.
So the temperament's important as well, even though they're in the worst situation of their life.
Plus, you're going to have to foster them, and it may be in a home that has other dogs.
Absolutely, and most people that step up to foster do have other animals. So that's why that's so important. So it's just, those are the main things, we just have to have legal, and it's usually, our criteria is usually severe torture, abuse, or neglect. And we're stepping out what we normally do, but it's within our mission statement to help possibly some animals under, this natural disaster that's going on. So.
Sure. Turn around and look at the camera so people can see how beautiful you are. It's right there.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
I don't like it.
Yes, I know, but you have to see what you look like.
She always tricks me.
See what you look like right there. Well, there's a camera right here, too.
Oh.
There's two of them.
I apologize.
So it's okay. So, Lee, look, just turn your, just a little bit.
Hello.
Come on. Because all you are is black.
You're
just a black person from head to toe.
That's great.
Rebecca Eves. Hi, girls.
No, I do want to say hello to everybody. But I just thought there was no camera today.
We put you on because you're so spectacular, and because this goes automatically to YouTube. So this is
She
tricked me. This is going straight to YouTube, so you can link to YouTube and show everybody what we've been talking about, which is a great way for you to promote the Arrow Fund.
No, I love promoting the Arrow Fund, but I love Tara more than, she's one of my friends. I love her. I love Tara, but I'm telling you, she'll take a picture of me, and my eyes are closed, and my mouth is hanging open, and she posts it all over, and I'm like, please, no, oh my goodness.
But see, if you just turn a little bit,
and
see, there you go. See how beautiful she is? No. Doesn't matter if I take pictures of her or not. Rebecca Eves with the Arrow Fund is a wonderful addition to Crescent Hill Radio today, and we're going to come back and talk to her some more right after. You can find out where to find the music tonight.
Let's take a look at the WCHQ concert view for Wednesday, August 17th. Tonight over at Gerstl's Place, Timid and Doug. Down at the River House, you can catch the Smith Brothers. Down at Stevie Ray's Blues Bar, Louisville Fats and the Rhythm Cats. Over at the Melwood Tavern, catch Heidi Howe and Mr. George Stearman. Over at the Zanzibar, they have the Wigs and the Satellite Twins. Goodwood Brewing will have live local Wednesdays with Alana Fugate. And down at Kingfish, you can catch 8-Inch Elvis.
This has been your WCHQ Concert View. If you've got a show you'd like to let us know about, go to CrescentHillRadio.com and hit the icon at the top of the screen that says List Your Gig.
That's exactly right. Those are the Morning Jam guys. They're here 7 to 9 a.m. Monday through Friday. And you can find them at their day jobs all the rest of the time. Everybody has to work a day job. Rebecca Eves is with me from the Arrow Fund, and we've been talking about not only the severe abuse, neglect, and tortured cases they take in here, but now southeastern Louisiana, which is dealing with what they call a 1,000-year reign, has so many animals that are literally washing up. They're trying to rescue them. They're trying to get them into shelters, but many of the shelters are underwater. Yes. And these are the people who are calling you asking for help.
Well, they didn't call. They didn't call.
You
They're busy.
Reached out to them.
I reached out to them.
Okay.
They're absolutely crazy right now, trying to handle the numbers coming in.
Like you're not.
Well, right. But, I mean, these are... the numbers are great, and it's crisis.
Yeah, they're extraordinary.
And all their shelters are extremely jammed full. And so are ours. I don't mean it like that, but...
Is it the shelter calling back?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right, good.
But, I mean, it's just a way of goodwill. I think that we all should, in times of extreme need like this, I think we should reach out.
Okay, adopting an AeroFund dog is also a complicated process. Not complicated, but not complicated, but thorough, I should say.
That's fine.
Thorough, because you don't just give a dog to anyone, like you don't give a child to anyone.
No, we don't do open adoptions. I'm not knocking it for anyone who does it. It's just that we really bond to these animals, and our fosters bond to these animals. And I'm not saying others don't, so please don't misinterpret. It's just what we feel is best for our animals.
Right.
It's what works for the AeroFund and how we can sleep at night. They come to us so horribly abused or tortured. They go through months and months, and the fosters bond. We're bonded. We love them. We see them through all this. We just need to know that they're going to be okay. And we also want compatibility to happen as far as the foster home and that animal meshing with their animals, and the same with the adoption home. So we do reference checks, we do vet checks, and we do require a fenced in most cases. And it's just a protective measure. And then we do a home visit. So
it's
and
thorough.
I'm not going to, I can't, I'm not going to.
Don't apologize.
I don't want to
it.
apologize.
No.
I feel very proud, and the animals that we have placed in our record of as far as keeping them in the home has just been phenomenal.
How many years have you been in practice here?
The AeroFund is our 501. We have been acting as the AeroFund, that mission, for 6.5 years.
But then there was something before that you did.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, our 501c3 just took shape to the AeroFund. So.
And you've been in animal rescue all your life, pretty much.
Well, I'm exceeding 26 years.
That's pretty impressive. Quarter of a century.
And
half your life.
I've never accepted a penny.
That's
for
right.
it. It's not that. It's just something that I could do, but it's hard. It's hard mentally. It's hard physically. It's hard to have a life.
Yeah, it is.
But it's so important, and that's why we encourage more people to really step up, volunteer. We've got clerical stuff that needs to be done.
That's helpful.
We've got all kinds of stuff that needs to be done. So volunteering's great. We've got so many events in a month of September out of however many days are in September. How many?
30.
30. That's what I thought. We're doing an event 20 of the 30.
That's really good.
And we need people to volunteer. So
well, I know that one of them is going to take place at the Cheddar Box Woodwich Shop up in Chenoweth Square, and it says, is it August 18th?
Well, it's an event. It's a tent sale.
It's going to go on for days.
18th through the 21st. But
and
on
Saturday is the 20th.
On that Saturday,
there's going to be fun.
There's Nancy Tarrant that owns the Cheddar Box is donating
10% of all their sales.
10% of all their sales, and
that's awesome.
Nancy Tarrant of the Cheddar Box is so wonderful to the AeroFund.
Yeah,
she just adopted an
lover.
AeroFund baby.
Oh, good.
Little Haley, and she has just been so supportive to us, and we are so thankful to the Cheddar Box. And plus, it's just the food is just.
It's phenomenal.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I've eaten there a lot. So August 18th through 21st
is a tent sale.
Big weekend for the tent
for
sale.
a lot of the shops in the plaza.
Exactly. And then the 20th is Saturday, and that's when she's giving 10% of all proceeds from her sales to you. Great.
Yep.
Fantastic. You can go to the AeroFund page on Facebook, which is just the AeroFund, or you can go to theaerofund.org on the web, and everything that you want or need to know about it is right there. So when you talk about foster failures, you're talking about not the fact that the dog has been returned, but the fact that the dog hasn't been returned.
The dog
I have one of those.
They fell in love in the foster home and couldn't bear to place it, and we're thrilled. We're thrilled that animal doesn't have to make one more change, and it's found its forever home. We may have lost a foster because of capacity, but we really live in the moment. We're so happy for that animal.
That's what Wyatt was. Wyatt was a foster failure.
Yes.
He came to me, and he bonded so closely with Brady and Gracie that he couldn't go back.
Yeah, and I can't stress enough, without having a facility, fosters are so important to us. It literally means, and I have turned down cases recently because we do not have enough foster homes at certain times. It just depends upon what the animal is and if we have a foster home that would be that it would fit in, and I've had to turn down animals.
I want to know, because we talked about this the last time you were here, and there was a big drive to be able to purchase some sort of property somewhere.
Yes.
And what's going on with your plans?
What happened is we still have a GoFundMe account for what we want to do is a lad's legacy. A lot of you remember a collie that we had that really became the world's collie, and he just meant it was just something special that kind of put the Arrow Fund on the map, that boy. And we want we have someone who will match $250,000, and we are having a drive to try and match that $250,000.
Fantastic.
And we were looking at a specific property. We've decided to go ahead, and we did not get that property, and we're actually looking at land and properties, and hopefully in the future. But we still have a GoFundMe account that is active. And we're still looking to match that $250,000.
Yeah.
I think in like 9 days we got approximately like around 21,000.
Wow.
So
that's a very good turnout.
But when the money goes
time.
into that account, that money is in there for our facility. But right now we need money in our regular fund. So
absolutely,
because donations are down with rescue groups everywhere. I mean, if I talk to any of my fellow friends in rescue,
and some of them have gone out of business,
and we do not, and
sad.
And it is. It's very hard, and you hate to keep asking for money, but the money is always needed.
Well, I was at a nonprofit seminar yesterday, and it was all for two-legged people, but not for four-leggeds.
Sure.
But the point was made, which is true, that every single charitable organization, be it an animal rescue or a human rescue for health concerns or whatever, they're all going for the same dollar.
Of course.
And people get calls, and they get letters, and they get email, and they get personal requests. I mean, and it's just so hard to decide where they're going to put their money.
And it is true, and I think a lot of people, I mean, sometimes some people have said to me, maybe it's the election year, people are not knowing the way that it's going to go.
It's possible.
And it's all understandable. I just know how important it is, the work that we do, and we will continue to ask, and we hope some of the people can respond to us. So that's all we can do.
Yeah, that would be very helpful. When you talk about the Arrow Fund, it was named for a very, very notable case that you had, and I'd love you to share that with us, because it's very hard to hear, it's very hard to talk about, but it's, I think, essential that people know what goes on so that they can understand what the purpose of the Arrow Fund actually is.
I had always I always heard about these animals that were hurt so bad and they were unowned, and there was really not a group set up in Kentucky to focus on them. And finally, after seeing it so many times, I thought that that's enough. And we had a black lab. I was contacted from Pikeville, Eastern Kentucky, and someone shot this animal with a bow and arrow. The arrow pierced his entire body all the way through, and basically it was experts came out, and trajectory was 10 feet. They knew that black animal 10 feet away was a black lab. They just did. And then they had, from this bow, it had a very expensive tip on this arrow, and they went and unscrewed the arrow tip so they could have that. So and then this animal laid in a yard for days, and the infection and everything. It was bad. And I thought, we brought him, I brought him in, and at that point that day, it went through my mind, the Arrow Fund. And wouldn't that be something to help these animals, these innocents out there that have absolutely nobody?
Yep.
And they go to shelters, and shelters are not budget. They don't have money to care for these animals.
No.
And most rescues can't. And
the typical solution is to euthanize.
Oh, absolutely. And many times if we can't take them, that's exactly what happens. And And that weighs heavy, especially if it's because donations are down a bit or we don't have a foster home. I mean, I live with that every day, so it's really hard. That's why you'll always hear me asking and begging, and I don't like to do that. But as a group and for the greater good, I have to continue to ask.
Yeah, well, you're not asking for yourself.
No.
That's the whole point.
No, I'm not.
It's okay to ask for others.
Yeah.
Especially those you're giving a voice to those who are voiceless.
Correct.
Which is the whole idea.
Yeah.
The Arrow Fund is with us for another 10 minutes. I hope she can hang on with just a moment.
Yes.
Rebecca Eves joining us to talk for an hour about the wonderful work that is done by a group that takes in severely neglected, abused, and tortured animals. And the newest additions to the family we're going to talk about in just a minute. Sound good?
Okay.
Right after Rusty Bladen. Let me back in. He's a Southern Indiana boy who loves Crescent Hill Radio.
My bones, hear it in the wind, see it in your eyes. Why don't you let me back in? You threw me out of your life, I'm lonely again. It's cold on the outside, why don't you let me back in? This time we're gonna win. Talking about a future, you gotta let me back in. Open up your eyes, see a sorry man. Open up your heart, you gotta let me back in. Let me back in. Why don't you let me back in? Let me back in. You gotta let me back in. Let me back in. Why don't you let me back in? Let me back in. You gotta let me back in.
Thank you, Rusty Bladen. You always make my day. What a wonderful musician. Just Madison, Indiana, right across the river, and just the cutest thing in the entire world. He was on my show last couple of weeks ago, Rebecca. Then he went over and did a great show. Did a great show at the Kingfish in Jeffersonville. So I asked Rebecca if she would, and this is a lot to ask because you get so many different animals in, and you've had so many of them in for a period of time, but there are 4 here who are really, they're searching for their forever home.
Yes.
And I really need you to share some of them.
Well, Bingham is a little beagle.
I love him.
And that is this. I mean, his foster said he's just the perfect little gentleman.
He is.
He had to lose his front leg with us.
Yes.
There was just no saving it, and he is adorable.
He gets along just fine.
He gets along just fine, and he loves to snuggle, and he's great with other dogs. He took my heart that night.
Yes.
I mean, he really did, as many of them do. Don't get me started, but as you know. And then we have Otto, who is like a kind of a black and tan shepherdy kind of dog. He's about 6', 7, and he had a horrible leg injury, and he is the sweetest dog. He will bond with you as his owner so quickly. He's been waiting quite a while for a home, and I don't get it.
No,
and then we have Spencer, who's a black and tan coonhound that will tell you how he feels with his voice. But he is not your typical. If you have him out on a leash, like he was at
Creasy Mayhem,
and he's like pulling a little, and he's like But in the home, she said he is snuggled up next to you. He is just the sweetest coonhound.
He's adorable.
He's so beautiful.
He is. I'm just looking at him on the Facebook page.
That's Spencer, and he is just a cuddle bunny.
And he's a tripod. He had an amputation.
Yeah,
because
I'm sorry.
somebody
He
shot
had
him.
an amputation. His back leg, one of his back legs is gone.
But again, I saw him at Wolfstock, and it didn't slow him down a bit.
Then we have Pongo.
Oh God, I love
who
him.
is just. He came in
He
basically.
looks like a movie star dog.
Blue Pearl called us. They got a case where we don't know what happened, okay? We won't mention any names. We don't know what happened. They brought a dog in that was totally unconscious.
Oh.
And they weren't going to help him. And the only option was, we didn't even know if he'd wake up. He had an overdose of medicine. And his owners said that they didn't want him anymore. And so we really waited for him to wake up. So we ended up taking him, and we didn't know if Pongo was going to wake up. I mean, it was that bad. They had a breathing tube in him, and he is like what we were just talking, almost like a corgi body with a pit bull face, with ears that absolutely flap forward. He is the cutest, adorable little baby. I mean, all four of these, and then we have others that are just wonderful, waiting for adoption.
Yeah.
And they're all ready.
Well, he's described as active, agile, agreeable, clumsy, good-natured, happy, energetic, curious, rambunctious, playful, personable, trainable, vocal, lovable, and muscular.
He is a dream come true.
He's adorable. They all are.
A dream come true.
They all are. And I want to encourage anybody who would like to find out more about the Aerofund. You can do it online. It's aerofund.org or go to the aerofund.org or go to the Aerofund Facebook page. And don't forget, Saturday, which is this Saturday the 20th, the Cheddar Box in Chenoweth Square in St. Matthews is donating 10% of all its sales to the Aerofund. So if you grab a sandwich at the Cheddar Box, which is really good stuff, Shannon Favre is waving and nodding in agreement. She's our next guest.
The cheese tort. Oh,
the cheese tort is out of this world, and they make all that stuff fresh.
Yes,
every day.
Yes, Nancy is fantastic.
She is.
She's just a fantastic person that gives back to the community.
Always been an animal lover.
Absolutely.
Ever since I've known her, she's just been fantastic. Well, I want to thank you for taking time, and I want to hear about the call to the shelter.
Yeah,
the pilot. And all that good stuff. Rebecca, for those of you who just tuned in, Rebecca is looking for a pilot to fly to Louisiana and pick up 2 or 3 animals that have been terribly affected by the flood.
Yeah.
The 1,000-year rain, as they're calling it. And lots of animals
And
have
we are
died.
working. I want to stress, I'm working on putting it together. We're in active talks with the shelter. I'm waiting for a pilot to confirm. And then we will need foster homes because we do not really have foster homes. So everyone, please, if you want to step up and help, show your good heart and show your compassion, please go to the aerofund.org and either adopt, donate, or foster.
Yeah. And especially share on Facebook.
That's
one thing you can do.
Sharing a post, it doesn't cost anything. And you can also make us your charity of choice with the Kroger card.
Oh, I did that yesterday.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome.
We actually get passed. We hope to exceed it. And you have to register now by the end of the month, but we have been currently getting like 3,000 quarterly. So
That's
we need
amazing.
that so bad. So everyone, please, if you could do that and make the Arrow Fund your charity of choice.
And just to reassure you, it does not affect your gas
it
points.
does not affect your gas points.
It's in addition to your gas
It's in addition
points.
to your gas
The
points.
lawyer speaks.
Yes. I know that's important for all of us these days. So
Rebecca, thank you so much for your time for the Arrow
Thanks
Fund.
to everyone out there that does support us. And just if you support anything, just help one another. It's a hard world out there, and we need to show love and compassion.
We definitely do. Rebecca
Thank you.
Eves of the Arrow Fund. She's a frequent and wonderful guest. We love her very much, and look forward to hearing from Shannon Favre on the Law coming up right
You're
now on
listening to
Crescent Hill Radio.
WCHQ LP, Louisville, Kentucky, 100.9 FM, Crescent Hill Radio. All local music all the time.
They don't get paid.
No.
Well, Rebecca has not taken a penny in 26 years of animal rescue.
Right.
So, sometimes it's just, I don't know. It's just absolutely amazing. Okay, get to the real work here. Shannon Favre is in the studio with us. She is, I like to call her Favre on the Law, like Handle on the Law. But
I'm okay with that.
It's Favre Law. And you and Dawn Elliott have separated your practices.
Right. And
Tell
we're-
us about that. Are you still friends?
Oh yeah, I talk to her every day. We still case it. What happened is
Text me every 5 minutes.
Really? Well, I was talking to her when you texted me about coming on the show. That's how I
were
could
you?
answer the
Yeah.
question. No, actually, she was in the office when you texted, I think. No, Dawn and I are still really good friends. It's just that she needs staff, and I've decided after 12 years I don't feel like paying staff anymore.
There
so
you go.
we decided it was that, then she said she wouldn't have left if I hadn't made her leave. So, no, but we're still friends. Like I said, I talk to her every day.
Well, you guys have made quite an impact on the history books, and that's because Shannon and Dawn filed the original petition that led to the Marriage Equality Act, and they live right here, and they work right here in Louisville, Kentucky. Shannon on Frankfurt Avenue.
Yes, Dawn's on Breckenridge Lane. now.
Dawn's on Breckenridge Lane, all in Crescent Hill and Clifton, which is pretty amazing. And, it just goes to show you that great things have to start somewhere,
Yes.
and they're tiny when they start, but then they blow up to these magnificent proportions of guaranteeing marriage equality across the nation.
Well, there's a quote, and I'm not going to say it right. But it's about don't ever doubt that a few motivated individuals can change the world, because in fact it's the only thing that ever has.
Oh, wow, isn't that
It's
amazing?
Margaret Mead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible. So, Shannon, we're going to talk today about two separate topics. And the first one is bankruptcy. And I think that there are many people right now struggling with the question of to do or not to do. I mean, seriously, because it's not a small thing.
No.
It has an impact on you for a number of years. 10 years of your life. And it's really hard.
What do you mean it's really hard?
I think it's emotionally very
that's
hard.
different. The process itself isn't hard.
Sure.
The deciding to file is hard.
Exactly.
And I have no problem with this, because most people know it's now been about 10 years since I filed because of my divorce, which is pretty
Oh,
common.
my gosh.
Because we used to own a restaurant in Clifton, and apparently it was not doing very well, which I did not know that. So when we got divorced, I had to file. So I can relate to my clients. It's not I can. The whole process, I try to make as easy as possible for the clients, because I had to go through it.
What does it actually do? What is it when you say declare bankruptcy? Exactly what do you mean?
Well, the law changed in 2008, so it's not what people think it is anymore. It used to be if you filed bankruptcy, you could not keep stuff. Okay, you can keep stuff, only certain.
Like they'd take your house and all that stuff.
Right. If you filed a Chapter 7, which is where you wipe out your debt, you used to have to give everything away.
Wow.
But now you can still file a Chapter 7, which means get rid of any debt except for what you want to keep, as long as you qualify based on your income, and most people will.
So they don't take your house. They don't take your car.
Not if you're qualified based on income. If you don't have too much equity in the house and you can afford to make the payments, once you wipe everything else out, then yes, you can keep the house.
Does it still last for 10 years?
Yes.
Chapter 7.
It does.
Okay.
But it's different, though, because after 5 years, you'll be able to get personal loans without a problem. It takes 10 years to get a business loan without a problem.
I see.
Since I own a business, I can tell you that. So,
wow.
So, but I think, like I said, I've just probably passed my 10-year mark myself. And my credit's great because I've made an effort to do what you're supposed to. You get a credit card, use it like you're supposed to, pay it right off, pay on my student loans on a regular basis, that kind of stuff, where and pay my mortgage. You do all the things you're supposed to do, and that you will rebuild your credit.
I'm fascinated by the fact that you just said that you don't have to give everything away.
Not anymore.
What happens to the stuff that you have? Does the government just come in with a crew of people in a moving van and seize the stuff like in a raid, or
No.
what happens?
You're allowed to have a certain amount of stuff. I call them like pools of money.
Okay.
Some of it's your equity in your house.
Okay.
If you don't have equity in a house, then you can use that pool of money for other stuff, like the equity in your car, your furniture, your jewelry, your clothes. All these are different little pools of money you're allowed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to give it specific numbers because it just depends on how many
Sure.
people are in the house and that kind of stuff. But I mean, you can keep everything if you can afford to. Once you wipe out the other stuff, like your credit cards and your medical bills, which are usually what it is. It's
Sure.
generally medical bills more than anything else.
Yep.
Now, coming into, I know it doesn't feel like Christmas, and I hate to say that, but most people will file bankruptcy right after Christmas.
Why?
Because they'll run up their credit cards.
Oh, that makes
The
so much
problem
sense.
with that is if you, whatever you've done in like the 3 months preceding your bankruptcy, they're going to assume that you knew you were going to file bankruptcy, and they will make you pay it back. So
Ooh.
don't plan on running up your credit cards and then filing bankruptcy on it, because that's not a good way to do that.
That's a pretty scary thing, but thank you for that advice.
Yes.
See, I don't use anything. I mean, my dad used to always say to me, don't buy anything you can't pay cash for.
Right.
So interestingly enough, someone said to me, you won't have good credit
Because you
unless
don't
you
use
use
it.
credit.
Right.
And so I use one credit card,
Right. And pay it off.
and I get frequent flyer miles, which is great. So I literally put everything on one credit card at the end of the month, pay it off. It's done, and I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, I love my USAA card because right now they even give me a percentage back every month. I'm like, ooh.
Really?
Which I can use to pay on the bill, which I find very funny.
They used to do that on a Discover card, I think.
Yeah, but I think the
Give
rates are a lot higher.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So check into those things. I would guess that would be, a valuable piece of advice to let people see what the benefits are of using a specific card, and then, hone it down.
Right. And especially if you're paying it off every month like you're supposed to, the interest rate's not a problem.
That's amazing. All right. So the other types of bankruptcy.
Okay.
This is confusing to
That's
many
okay.
people. We've got 7 out of the way.
Okay. Chapter 13
Yes.
is when it's when you consolidate your debt and make one monthly payment to the court. It's for people who either make too much money or have filed a Chapter 7 in the last 8 years. Then if they have something come up, like lost a job, got sick or whatever, they're going to have to file a Chapter 13.
Okay. So let's just take that apart. You said you pay it to the court.
Well, the bankruptcy court.
Okay. So what does the bankruptcy court do with the
They
money?
split it up amongst your creditors. The secured creditors, which are things you can take away, like your house and your car, they get paid first.
Oh, really?
And then the attorney fees and the court fees. And then anybody left over, like medical bills or credit cards. And those people won't get paid dollar for dollar. They could pay whatever's left over. They could get like 3 cents on the dollar, 50
Oh,
cents
isn't
on the
that
dollar.
amazing?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the question that would be asked there is, why is it that they would pay on the mortgage and all that kind of stuff first?
Because it's something they can take away from
see.
you. So
I
that
see.
has to get paid first, because they're not going to let you sit in a house if you're not paying on it.
Could a credit card company that you owed money to come in and take your house?
If they file a judgment and if they file a lawsuit, you ignore it. They get a judgment, you ignore it. Then they can put a lien on your house, and some of them will push to sell your house. Most of them won't do that because they're not going to get, because they have to take after the mortgage. And
Wow.
almost everybody has a mortgage on their house.
So Chapter 13 is that the worst kind of bankruptcy you can file?
No, I mean, it's not the worst. It still gets you out of what you're doing, but it will be on your credit for 15 years. Cause
Oh, my God.
It takes 5 years to do Chapter 13, and then 10 years after that, it's on your credit. Plus, a lot of creditors would rather you file in Chapter 7 because then you're starting over again.
Right.
And so you don't have this, because if you want to buy a new car or buy a new house or your furnace breaks, any money you borrow during your Chapter 13, the court has to approve it before you can do anything. Because you can't go in farther in debt without the court's permission when you're in the middle of a Chapter 13.
God, and why would you want to go farther in debt?
Well, if people's furnace breaks or car breaks.
Oh,
you know,
right. Okay, I gotcha. Is there any other type of bankruptcy we need to know
Not
about?
for people.
Corporations?
Corporations do
Okay.
Chapter 11, which
Okay.
you could be either one, the 7 or 13. There's also, if you own a farm, that's a different one. Don't worry about those.
Wow, I
in
had
this
no
neighborhood.
idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. Well, we do have some urban farmers. I hear
Yes.
chickens all the time. Aren't there
I-
some chickens close to your office?
Well, I know there's more around here, actually. Just a mild difference. But I think they're allowed, I think it's 4 or 5 non-crowing fowl
Yeah,
in
you
the
don't want
yard.
that rooster in there.
No, no.
Oh boy, there's one down by the North End Cafe
Okay.
that
I
I've
haven't-
heard crowing for a long time.
That's funny. I've never heard them. And I'm okay with that.
86 degrees in the forecast for tomorrow as the Kentucky State Fair opens. 20% chance of rain. 30% chance on Friday with 87 the high. And Saturday and Sunday, good chance of rain. 60% on Saturday, 40% on Sunday. Temperatures again above 80 and Saturday close to 90. Then we have a little bit of a cool off for Monday and Tuesday and right back into those middle 80s on Wednesday, but at least clear skies for those 3 days. So that's what's happening. We could see just clouds tonight, maybe a couple more little rain showers, but nothing serious. And it looks like temperatures are going to be hanging out right around 70 degrees. So if you have to go out tonight, just be prepared. It's going to be warm and humid, and then you can dress accordingly. You're not going to need your rain jacket anymore. I had to pull mine out today, but shorts and a t-shirt probably sufficient. And I wear my flip-flops, Shannon, because what's the point in getting your tennis shoes soaked?
I know. I always wear like my Tevas, like the ones I had in Peace Corps, but I have newer ones obviously now. But yes, because your feet are going to get wet anyway. So what difference does
That's
it make?
another topic I want to discuss with you right after we play Jacob Resch.
We're not going to talk about experiments.
Peace Corps. That's pretty awesome. On Crescent Hill Radio, Shannon Favre's with us. Here's Jacob Resch. Food chain. So we're very proud of our little Jacob Resch. He's a wonderful guy, and I really hope that he will come back and play for us again because he's gotten pretty big.
Oh, cool.
I hope he remembers us.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
Okay, so this is an interesting topic. We don't want to reveal everything at once because we do have 40 more minutes.
Well, actually, no, because I have to leave.
Oh,
at
yeah,
5:45.
that's
I have to send my
right.
kids to school.
30 more minutes. Doggone it. So Favre Law Office, which is really awesome, has put this on their website, so you can read it off the website. But
FavreLaw.com.
it says July 31st, new expungement rules for felonies in Kentucky.
Yes.
What does that mean? We can get it taken off our record how and when?
Okay, well, up until now, once you're a felon in Kentucky, you're a felon for the rest of your life.
Oh, God.
Which affects you. You can't vote, you can't have a gun.
Yeah.
But the bigger problem is it affects your ability to get a job. Most people will not hire felons.
That's right.
So, there's also a new post today about the potential changes next year. We won't worry about that yet because it hasn't happened. But as of right now...
Didn't you say it happens every July 15th?
Yes.
I find that so odd.
That's when the new laws go into effect in Kentucky. Okay.
All right.
But that one hasn't passed yet, so we won't... But if you want to look about the potential one, that's also on the website. I just put that up today.
Okay.
But as of right now, the things that you cannot set aside for felony... Okay, we'll go with that because that's easier.
Okay.
Okay. Crimes involving seniors, sex crimes,
Good.
drug trafficking, and human trafficking.
Good.
Pretty much anything else you may be able to expunge, which means it will no longer be a felony, which means you'll no longer be a felon. You can get a job, you can vote, you could have a gun, you could do all these other things. But one of the crimes that is a felony right now is felony, not paying your child support. It's felonious non-support.
Slow down, Shannon.
Okay.
You're getting fast again.
Okay.
Felonious non-support of child.
Well, it's flagrant non-support, technically.
Flagrant non-support.
I'm sorry, I was blanking. That's why.
Okay.
When I was going
it's
faster.
a barge, Shannon. It's a barge.
Okay.
Okay.
It's flagrant non-support, which is a felony. So let's say you've gotten behind, you lost your job, you can't pay your child support. Well, now you're a felon, and now you can't get a job. We're not getting a decent job, and so this is perpetuating that you will always be behind on child support. You can go to prison for not paying child support, and then the kid's not going to get their money anyway.
Yeah.
So one of the things you can set aside with the new felony expungement law is flagrant non-support. So they could not be felons anymore, and then they could get better jobs and pay their child support and that kind of thing.
Do you have to do anything to be able to get it expunged?
Yes.
What do you have to do?
First, you have to get your record from the state, which costs $40.
Okay.
Okay. You have to get a certified record. Anybody can do it. It's also on the website. You can also go to any of the court websites and follow the links there too. After you get your certified record, which is $40, then you want to talk to an attorney. You don't have to have an attorney. You know, legal aid does clinics and stuff. I would always suggest having an attorney just because this is something that's going to impact the rest of your life.
Yes.
The filing fee for felonies, this is a court cost, is $500.
Oh, my God.
It was $1,000.
Woo!
Originally when they were planning on it, because it's a big deal. For misdemeanors, which are crimes that... Other crimes or lesser crimes, that's $100 per charge. So I guess $500 isn't really that bad, but of course it is $500 plus attorney's fees.
Yes.
So that's going to become an issue, but it gives people the chance to, improve their lives dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know I remember one of my first clients, he got charged with a felon in possession of a gun, and his felony was from the 70s. He stole like $300 worth of stuff in the 70s, but he will be a felon for the rest of his life at that point. And up until now, we've never been able to get around that in Kentucky.
Incredible. So several things are going to be affected by this new law, and you or another reputable attorney would be able to explain that.
Yes.
Plus, it's on the website.
Yes.
Favreurlaw.com. Okay. Favre, F-A-U-V-E-R. Favreurlaw.com. Plus, you've got a Facebook page.
Which is also Favre Law.
Okay. Easy to find. All right. Let's go on and talk a little bit more about the topics that you really want to talk about, and then I'm going to tell you a story.
Okay.
What else would you like to share with us?
Well,
the fact that Dawn has left the practice, does that mean she's going to run for office again?
I don't think so.
Because she was so awesome as a district court judge candidate.
I know, but actually what it was is I applied to be a federal judge. So that's
you did?
Yeah, I did.
How cool is that?
I'm waiting to hear. So that's why, that was one of the reasons Dawn left, because
she was jealous?
No. It's because I decided I don't want staff anymore. Why